As many of you already know, you have seen the review of the PlayStation VR2 on this channel, and that implies a technical review in detail of many little things that this virtual reality device may have. But is there anything else you need to know? Of course, and that's why I created this kind of videos, the so-called no review, where I'm going to tell you my experience with this product. The first thing I have to say is that many have not understood what it means that a person like me has tried almost all VR devices on the market, and I want to make it clear, and that implies that my vision of this world is much broader than what a person who has only tried one or two viewers may have. But not only that, but I also have technical knowledge of how this technology works, which allows me to take certain licenses when talking about these gadgets. That said, I want to tell you all how has been the inclusion of this product in my library of scopes and games, because I think that although like any other product, it is not perfect, it can offer us things that others do not offer. Right off the bat, I can tell you that the simplicity of connecting it to the PlayStation 5 is genius. The mere fact of connecting it with a single cable to the front of the console makes the tangle of cables that existed with the first generation has disappeared. Once you have it there and turn on the console, everything is simplified with an almost perfect guide on how it works and how to calibrate it. Being able to see with your own eyes how it scans your environment and creates a safe gaming zone is something that I had seen in other products but hadn't seen in a consumer product for a long time. Once that is done, needless to say that you can calibrate it as you want, from adjusting the floor by touching it with a remote control. Do it with the sticks to avoid bending your back. Choose a circular area, a seated area, or set an area to your needs by modifying the one automatically detected by the system. With all this in mind, you can already get the idea that this viewer is made for gaming. It's so highly simplified in so many ways that it won't be a hassle to play with it. You just plug it in and play, and with that in mind, that's what Sony has created it with, and it shows. We cannot forget the technology included in the product. Eye tracking will help you calibrate the setting of the separation of your eyes in a simple and visual way. You can access it from a quick access menu if you need to adjust it at any other time, and even help you to configure it to another person if you leave the viewer so you can enter these virtual worlds. Without a doubt, something that helps to make everything much easier. And I repeat, if you want to know what my technical opinion of the device is, you can look for the review here on the channel. I do not think it will be very difficult to find it. Even so, I will leave it in the description of the video if you also want to see it after watching this one. The thing is that when you have everything configured in such a simple way that a child could do it following the steps that Sony shows you, is when the good stuff will really start, because this is just a walk to get you into one of the most immersive technologies that you can find in video games. And as I say, this is designed to play. Let's forget about augmented reality, extended, and all those stories, and let's go to what we're going, play real games. While it is true that the initial catalog is wide, we also have to know that many games are ports from other platforms or adaptations of the first version, but that does not mean that the product is what it is, a good device for virtual reality. When you start running their games, you will realize that many are at another level. And I tell you, someone used to play both standalone games and games on a PC much more powerful than PlayStation 5, but we have to know that there is nothing better than optimizing a game to run on a specific hardware, and this is where PlayStation VR2 will stand out above everything else. Horizon Call of the Mountain will be a title that will make your head explode. While it is true that it is not in the same league as games like Half-Life Alyx, it is not far behind, which makes both its graphics, its adventure, and its story will leave you at certain times with your mouth open. Well, the mouth open, or with sore shoulders, because my mother, what a barbarity with the climbing. You're going to get your shoulders sore for the summer with this spin-off of Alloy. Not much further from the truth, the game is mainly a climbing game. I hadn't thought about it, and now I understand that the Call of the Mountain anyway. They could have called it Climbing the Mountain, and it would have been more real. The important thing here is when, in addition to climbing combats with a system that I found perfect for virtual reality, well adapted, well executed, and with a lot of care, but it doesn't only happen in this game, it happens in practically all the games that I have been trying during all this time, and I'm talking about the fact that I have tried more than 10 games in the last few days. Particularly, one that has caught my attention has been Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy Edge. A game that until now was only exclusive to standalone devices and has made the leap to PlayStation VR2 with improved graphics, and honestly, it shows. It is also a game that perfectly uses all the haptic sensors built into the device. I'm talking about all those motors and vibrators that will make from the trigger of your controller to the viewfinder itself interact with your body when there is a scene where it can be used. For example, you will notice perfectly when an explosion shakes your head due to the actuator built into the helmet of the viewfinder, or also how you use a screwdriver offering you resistance, the resistive triggers that have the controllers inherited from the main controller of PlayStation 5. This in other games like Thumper can also take you to another dimension. Never better said, because it will allow you to feel everything. From the impulses given by the beetle to the deer rapes, crashes, or the loss of the caparation. Undoubtedly, it is something that is difficult to describe if you have not tried it. That suddenly your plane, which is traveling to the island of Jurassic World crash, and you perfectly feel in your head the impact of it, or as when a Tyrannosaurus Rex is approaching the wreck, and every step you feel like you're there makes all these haptic actuators, are a total genius. Without a doubt, it's clear that Sony knew what it was doing when it incorporated them. Still, that's not all that's in store for you, which we already know is technology that for now you're only going to be able to find in this product. But we also have eye tracking, which has different options for use with this viewfinder. I have already told you about one of them, that of being able to place the product well and adjust the lenses to your eyes, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Virtual reality is different from a monitor because of its immersion capacity, but also because of the graphic sacrifice that must be made to reach up to 120 frames per second that the product can support without getting unkempt. And for that, more technology is needed to help make this happen. The eye tracking is partly to blame for this, as the foveated rendering technology will allow us to render at maximum quality right where you are looking, thus obtaining an outline at lower resolution to save graphic resources and to achieve the highest possible number of frames. I think it's quite impressive when, in Gran Turismo 7, you put on the viewfinder and see that it just looks perfect. I had never played this game, and I have it since I bought the console, and now I think I could say that from time to time I will throw some race or lap in some circuit to relax and de-stress, because they say that driving is what transmits you, right? Well, in virtual reality it is exactly the same. But eye tracking is not only used for that. In other games, we can control the menus simply with our eyes. All we have to do is look at the menu we want to select and press the X button. That will be enough. But of course, we could not miss 1,000 functions that could be added, such as certain enemies know when we are blinking, where we are looking at our arrow to not miss a single shot. Watch out that this is a full-fledged aim, or even being able to look between several objects, and when you want to pick it up, the system would know exactly which one you are looking at to make it easier to grab. Undoubtedly, the possibilities of this technology opens our minds to points that until now we did not know, because this is precisely the first consumer visor that really takes advantage of all this. Just as easy as it would be to keep abreast of virtual reality and new technologies by subscribing to the channel, because of course if you've come this far, is that everything I tell you is of interest to you. So don't hesitate and click on the little button, and if you activate the bell, you'll get it. It would be unfair to say that the price of the product is not commensurate with what it provides. I think many of you have already discussed all this without knowing what it can cost, all this technology, and I assure you that without a doubt, those 600 EUR in some ways are fully justified. Another thing is what we want, or if the price is what the market needs right now, but I think that we have here a real work of engineering is totally undeniable. The problems that I comment in the review as the Mura, the glare, that if Heartables that has glare, I think someone will have to visit the eye doctor, and other stories do not represent what we can really get to have in our hands. But this obviously will not depend only on us. But this will depend on what Sony is able to offer for this gadget to become a standard for video games, of course. And although it has cable, I think it is a very good product. So nothing, family, I hope you liked the video. Thank you very much to all of you for coming here. Thank you very much.